Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be our monthly ASIC pricing update video. This is going to be for May 2025, and in this series what we're doing is we're looking for pricing trends, whether they're going up, they're going down specifically, so we can find these deals for these ASIC miners for any guys who are interested. We'll talk about everything kind of going on in the market, also affecting ASIC prices, which has been a big thing these past few months. So we'll talk about it. We'll give our thoughts as well as look at those trends. If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So we're still having issues with these damn tariffs. Nothing has been fully settled, right? We started seeing like tentative short-term agreements, and now there's a lot of bickering. Ultimately today, actually, oddly enough. And this is something that's just going to linger over us until this thing gets resolved, right? So at the end of the day, if you're looking at any ASICs, regardless of who you want to purchase through, you guys know my preferred vendor is Nhash, just because they tend to be the price leader in terms of actual price from a lot of these larger retail stores. But wherever you're going to purchase from, make sure you hit them up and find out what the latest is with these tariffs, right? So currently there's still turmoil going on, and this is also affecting the overall market, right? So we just saw today, China hits back after Trump claims that it's violating the tariff truce. So again, a lot of bickering on, going back and forth there. And then on top of that, just yesterday, we had different court orders going on with the Trump tariffs, right? Saying that they were no longer in effect. And then later on that same day, back into effect, right? So just a lot of uncertainty still, and it's just a reminder that this still isn't finalized, right? Whether it's something that gets finalized here in the coming month or two, or is it going to be a longer spread? The faster this shit gets settled, the faster the market can have confidence, right? At the end of the day, even these little short-term things, they're not going to work out, because we're going to have things like this where even them just bickering, just this article coming out had massive effects on the overall market, right? So we can't really go into full confidence up mode until in reality this is settled, right? Because this is just a big factor, not just affecting ASICs, but just the overall market, right? Uncertainty. We all know the market doesn't like uncertainty, right? So just factor those things in. Let's look at the overall market though. Currently, as is, again, BTC is who we want to focus on because that's kind of the driver of the market. Currently, it is doing well, right? Ultimately, it's gone down. We were hovering in the 110 range for quite a while, which was a little bit surprising. Typically, we have those little peaks and we have a little sell-off. It was holding up. Ultimately, now that BTC 2025 is over, it is trending down a little bit. It's down to 104. The bigger effect is just the alts, right? So BTC in reality, not really moving down a whole lot, but every like even $1,000 that BTC moves, if it's downward, it affects all the alts massively, right? And this is one of those things that we're still in Bitcoin's time. It is, everybody wants to push for alt season, but it's like until all these factors are in place, things are kind of chilling. Kind of what's going to be the deal, right? Ultimately, BTC dominance is still up. It's still the king. We'll see how much longer it lasts. We'll see where the market goes from here. It's really hard to say until there's more certainty in the market, right? As we look at overall mining profitability, the biggest difference this month is the change in who the top is, right? We've seen ultimately these past like quite a few months, it's been what? These little Alio ASICs. But pretty much as expected, what's happened? The profitability has gone down because of what? The hash rate increasing on these immature networks. Okay, so once they release, once they're out, then we can kind of gauge. But so far, it seems like most of the initial effects have been felt. We saw the effects of the AE0 finally dropping, and then ultimately this past week, it's been the AE1 Lite, right, which had another big effect. So we can see here now the top goes back to what it was, right, which is a lot of these Hydro units, the high-powered, efficient BTC units, and the script ASICs. That has definitely been the overarching theme of the past quite a while, right? We haven't really seen a flip in anything in a long time, aside from these little Alio ASICs, but we knew it was going to be short-term, right? That's why we didn't necessarily put a ton of focus on them. The AE1 Lite is now down to about 937 a day, which in reality is still not bad considering the effects that have happened and the fact that Alio's price ultimately is trending down again, right? But that's pretty much it, man. It's literally BT ASICs and script ASICs, and that's where the focus of these things is going to be, right? Just because, again, that's where the interest is. It's going to be with whatever's profitable. Currently, a lot of these others, pretty much all the altcoins, they're either breaking even, just depending on your electric rate, right? If you're 10 cent, 14 cent, or 8 cent, it's going to vary. But a lot of them, they're just so low to the point where they're essentially like at break even, right? So in reality, the price still hasn't caught up to a lot of them just because I don't think they're going to go much lower, right? I think the big tell right now is that in many of these cases, that's kind of where they're going to be, right? So a lot of us have kind of been waiting for BTC ASICs to potentially further dip a little bit more, specifically these newer, more efficient units. As we've seen, they've been kind of flatlined, right? They haven't really budged a whole lot. The script ASICs have been fluctuating up and down, right? It's literally been every month or not every month, it's like every couple of days, depending on the price action, it's up and down anywhere from 5 to 10%. But it's kind of finally finding that place. We'll see how the trend goes, though, right? If ultimately the price action does kind of suck over the next few months, then maybe we'll see a trickle down. But again, like we've seen the trend for years now, it takes a long, sustained downtrend for the prices to go down considerably, right? When the inverse happens, though, when things pump, within the hour, right? Literally, I've had multiple price changes within that same day, right? Especially when things pump. Not the other way around, though, right? So keep those things in mind. So I guess some of these prices. So the big thing I do want to start off with is just, again, like we mentioned at the start of the video, there's still a lot of crap with these tariffs, right? And they've been all over the place, right? Some of you guys have reached out. I know a lot of you guys surprisingly ordered that little Byte thing as a little desk piece. The telling thing there is the crazy differences in experiences that people had. Some people didn't have to pay anything. Others got hit with the freaking 140%. Other people's got hit with a random. Quite a few of you guys had like bills all over the place, right? Anywhere from like 20 to 100%. Weird, right? And again, that's kind of what we mentioned, is that it's just going to be a shit show because of the amount of confusion. Okay, so to avoid all that, there are vendors that have been listing US inventory, right? Or at least shipping from a US warehouse. In this case, Miner Bros is actually kind of leading the trend here, right? We mentioned Bitmars last time, which I personally haven't ordered from, but they are one of the bigger ones. You guys are all familiar with Miner Bros, which we typically reference for price just because they are on the higher end. The advantage here that they have over like Nhash, for example, currently is this: for US clients routed through our US warehouse for a smooth and secure delivery. Because it's being shipped from the US, if you're in the US. Obviously, if you're a different country, different story. But the majority of the audience is here in the US. So for those of us here, for me, because the price isn't necessarily a lot more than the low price, you avoid all the bullshit by finding a vendor that is currently offering this. So not all of them are. Again, Nhash isn't doing this. Miner Bros is, right? Some of the others are as well. We mentioned Bitmars, but they're actually more expensive than Miner Bros now, right? So it's $88.74, but you got to pay some bullshit platform fee, and then they're also still charging like 200 some bucks for shipping, right? If you go through them, they're probably gonna lower that price, because if it is coming from the US, because again, this is USA spot, which it's not always there, right? It sells out and they no longer have stock, but currently they do, and those are the prices. But currently, for example, Miner Bros, it is currently cheaper there, 9,200 bucks. They do have a $160 coupon off, right? So the fact that you don't got to deal with the bullshit, even though it is a little bit more expensive, right? Realistically, the other comparisons, we're still going to use Nhash just because, again, they're the low price leader. We want to see the difference in price from Miner Bros to them, right? Because obviously, if it's like $1,500 more, then they're kind of different, right? But if it's literally a difference of a couple $100, I'd rather pay the couple $100 to not deal with all that bullshit, right? Even if you don't get hit with tariffs, there's been people having issues with customs just in general because there's been such a backlog with the confusion, right? People's packages getting held up. And again, just to avoid all that, I would 100% go this route. So I don't have an affiliate link or anything with them. Again, the goal of these videos is to look for those deals and to look for those things. Okay, so you could use your favorite creator because everybody else is with them. You can use their code so you can hook them up. Just be aware of those things, right? Again, it's not for every ASIC either. It's only certain ones. It's whatever they have stock of. But realistically, it's the more popular units that you're most likely going to be ordering anyway, right? Another popular one has been the Seal Miner, the A2. They do have them also as well, also for US inventory. Not bad price. It's within a couple $100 of the other vendors. No real news on the Pro. I know a lot of people have been asking about the Pro, and I started to dig in a little bit as well. Not much info, right? All the vendors have it listed as sold out. Initially, some of them had it listed as June, but again, we're like a day away from June and still nothing, right? And they've been kind of quiet about it also, which is a little bit weird. But as we've seen, though, their timelines haven't been great, right? And their communication also hasn't been too great. Would have been nice for them to release, like, hey, they're going to start shipping July, shipping whenever. Realistically, I was expecting for some kind of announcement at BTC, considering they were there. If any of you guys were there and you guys heard anything, please chime in the comments to update us. But those are the prices there. The S21 XP is a popular one. They actually don't have this one for US delivery though, right? So again, it's timing. It's depending on whatever's there. Another vendor that does have US stock that I would recommend, I do have an affiliate with them, and awesome guys. I've purchased many things from them. They do have US stock, so depending on the unit, obviously you want to go through, but it's going to tell you the location. And currently, again, they have it in their St. Louis warehouse. This thing will ship pretty quickly to you, right? So again, the advantage is just not dealing with all the shipping, customs, bullshit that's been going on, right? A little thing update with them, actually, they did just unveil their Altair OS powered by Epic. So there's going to be like their white label, it seems, but pretty cool stuff there. I'm sure they'll offer a service similar to like what they do here with Vanish, where they can actually have it preloaded for you already, right? Which is a pretty cool service for those of you guys who don't like messing with things around too much. Just something to note of there. So let's get to some of these prices. The BitDeer unit, again, for comparison's sake, it's $3,200. So again, when it's only like $3,400, $200 more, I'll gladly pay $200 to not have to deal with the bullshit, right? So again, whoever you want to order from, even if it's from Nhash, get a hold of them first before you place that order. Even if you're ordering from Miner Bros, hit them up, verify that they do still have stock before you go through that process, okay? So for most of them, their preferred method of communication is like Telegram. Right? I know I personally don't like Telegram. I literally only use it for this. But just keep those things in mind. Again, regardless of who you order from, just because of all the bullshit going on. Okay. As far as some of the other ASICs, let's look down. One of the more popular home ones, the Volkminer D1, didn't really go down. It went down a whopping $30, right? It's been going anywhere from, it's currently at $12.69. It's been as low as $12.49. But a little bit lower. They had a discount if you bought bulk. Down to $12.29 before, so pretty much in the same range. Again, very popular unit for what it is. Another one that we're getting a lot of questions on is the Fluminer L2, which is the little speaker thing. I have seen a lot of pictures of inventory, so this thing, if you did order one, should be shipping out pretty soon if you haven't got tracking already, right? I've seen pallets and pallets of these things. Not necessarily my cup of tea. To me, it is a pretty stupid concept, right? I get the whole thing. It's a speaker. It's cool. The reason I'm not really a fan of it at all is because people are saying, oh, it can be a little showpiece, it can be a little desk piece, and it can, but the thing is, it's a speaker, right? You're going to see it, it's going to be a speaker, you're not really going to question anything. For me, something like that would be interesting along those lines is something with an interesting shape, right? Be it like a little bit axe, which looks like a little computer board, like, oh, what is that? Or you see even like the DG Home ones, like the little server grade thing, like, oh, what the heck is that thing? This is just going to look like a speaker. If I see it in somebody's house, I'm not going to question the damn thing, right? Unless somebody mentions it to me. Again, not for me. I'm not a person who likes to waste money, so for me, that's what's not appealing, right? All day, I'd rather get one of these guys because price to hash is way better, right? But again, to each their own. I get the novelty thing. It's just not for me. I don't like wasting money on bullshit, right? Everybody has their own thing, though. Again, not trying to talk shit to anybody, but that's just my viewpoint on it, right? But it is there. It is $800. It's not bad for what it is. But again, for $400 more, I'd rather get more than double the hash rate, right? So let's continue on some other ASICs. Again, the price is not really moving down, right? They should really be going down. The Jesminer X16Q, which is another cheaper one. Again, it's kind of outdated at this point, and it's still not going down in price, right? Realistically, again, this thing should be under $1,000. It's $1,300. Not very appealing at that point, especially considering the competition, right? You can get 3,400 mega hash for way less wattage for 2,100 bucks out of this guy, right? So this guy hasn't really budged from here. It's been in this range. Not a bad deal for what it is, especially when you compare it to the others. This guy is more appealing because of its price point being lower and the wattage of this thing. But again, price per hash, this thing is still pretty good for the ETC ASICs. The freaking E11 still hasn't gone down in price. Bitmain is not updating any prices. The KS5 is still around the same range, about 1150, which to me, it just makes more sense than the KS7s, both the iceriver and the Bitmain unit, because again, they're so much more expensive. The iceriver unit coming in at $4,600 and the Bitmain unit at $6,000, right? So yes, they are more efficient, but is it really worth 4, 5, 6 times the price? Arguably not, right? Again, depending on your electric rate, depending on what you're looking at, is just the way I see it, right? To me, just basing it off of this, these things are way overpriced though, right? We'll see if they sell. Again, at the end of the day, it's going to be based off sales. If they're not selling anything, they're going to have to lower the price, okay? But not much movement there either. Again, we talked about the E11. Again, it's still way overpriced considering the competition, which again, they're just refusing to lower anything. Even the AL3, again, this thing has been unprofitable for quite a while, depending on your electric rate. And same thing, it kind of hit this rock bottom price of $2,300. Even kind of worse than this is the Bitmain unit. It's still, even on their site, it's still at the $11,000 price range. They refuse to lower the price on that thing, which again, extremely weird because the fact that they even have trouble moving this guy because of just the profitability, right? So we're kind of at the point where it seems like they really don't want to go lower unless something extreme happens, right? Which at this point in the cycle, anything can happen, right? We've already seen it. It's just really hard to say, but at this point, we can definitely tell that the manufacturers do not want to go much lower than what they are here. Does that mean it's not going to happen? No, right? Chances are there is already an iceriver AL5 in the wings. Same thing with the Bitmain unit, and they could be possibly just waiting for price appreciation, right? Then at that point, if that does happen, what do you think is going to happen here? Then the fire sale may happen, or if these things become profitable again, then they'll either stay at the same price or they can increase in price. This is the thing we all got to remember. We all kind of tend to forget a little bit. As the price appreciates, depending on how much it appreciates, prices can go up. So even with this guy, even though it's been unprofitable for quite a while, profitability is going to look drastically different if a lithium does, for whatever reason, have a pump. If it goes up to $1, $1.50, $2, it's going to change massively. Will it, won't it? We have no idea. Maybe it continues to struggle, goes down to a nickel, and this thing shits the bed. Also scenario, right? It's just really dependent on the situation, really dependent on that coin price, and in reality, can it sustain that price? Okay, because we've seen that time and time again. We've seen kind of out of nowhere, like specifically, especially the Bitmain units, right? We've seen it with like Cadena, CKB. We've seen different times throughout these past few years where kind of randomly, out of nowhere, they have this crazy little pump. Profitability looks good for a couple weeks. People mass buy those things because it's also kind of funny that every time that happened, that very next day, there was a Bitmain tweet with a restock for those units, right? So put two and two together. Like, what do you think is happening there? Which is why we're always so cautious when that does happen, right? Because then what's happened so far pretty much every time? The price retraced, hash rate went up significantly because of that hype, and they became even less profitable than what they were before. Okay, so a lot of ins and outs, a lot of things to consider, and it just gets harder as the time goes on, right? If the cycle kind of plays through us to what it is, not a whole lot of time. So if you're purchasing anything, again, ASICs, the key thing for a lot of the time is longevity, right? So kind of put that in the back of your mind. And that's why for a lot of us who've been around, if you're interested in anything now, it's more longevity-based things. It's Bitcoin ASICs, it's script ASICs, it's more mature networks, right? So not to say that you can't make money with these little immature networks, because again, we are going to see an ALIO ASIC anytime, and the profitability on the calculator is going to look ridiculous. Depending on the price point, there could be money to be made. We'll follow it. But again, chances are they're going to follow that trend of being ultra greedy and then seeing just what happened with the A1 Lite, right? Which is what we saw with like Caspa, Lithium, Rate, etc., right? We've seen that story. Will it eventually happen? Yes. Eventually, one of those things will retrace, will do well. Which one it's going to be, who freaking knows? But again, this late in the cycle, it's trickier. Okay, so just make sure you understand those dynamics, understand what you're getting yourself into when you're looking at. But for the most part, that's why a lot of us who've been around, if you are even interested in purchasing ASICs, that's kind of what we're looking at more than anything, right? Especially with the volatility, with everything going on, with all the Trump tariffs and all the crap going on, it's been a very weird cycle. On the mining side, it's been a very difficult cycle, right? Again, we're already pretty much in June. If we follow a typical cycle, it's not a good one on the mining front, right? If we do an extended cycle, like what a lot of people have been talking about, which is possible, it's hard to say what the hell is going to happen until we get through this summer. But anything's possible, guys, right? Just make sure you understand all those things. But let me know in the comments, though, guys. What are you guys interested in still? Are you guys done? Are you guys still interested in script ASICs, BTC ASICs, which has been the majority of the questions? And in reality, that's where my focus would be also, right? Wouldn't mind degenning into some of these others if the prices are right, but currently, as is, that's the game, right? Let me know in the comments, though, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, guys, and I am out.